Hi, I am a Big Glass House editor-in-chief here at the Globalist, and I'm happy to introduce one of our greatest achievements thus far. Our motto is reporting without limits, and folks, we once again are pulling that off with a live audio and text debate for the first time in Democraciv's history. So, without any further ado, here's Atlas Rising regular legislative debates with the following as my guests.
Hi, I'm unlike Bob. I'm a legislative candidate for the NDP.
I'm Espresso. I'm kind of do everything around here. I'm representing MIP here somewhat, but I'm actually here for DNN, and I'm doing the recording and broadcast.
And for the record there, DNN is the Democraciv News Network, our audio portion of the broadcast today, which we are very proud to be a part of. We also have with us, and I apologize for mispronouncing these once again, Chorizian, or I'm never going to get that right. And it was already pointed out to me how to say it properly, but I still can't do it. Commisery Bogdan. There we go. I've been properly corrected now. We also have with us Wheeze, who will be asking a few questions in regards to the ministry, which we are very happy to have aboard. And if anyone would like to say any opening statements before we start, I'd happily take them. If not, we have questions that need answers.
Yeah, I guess I can make a statement. So I am an NDP legislator, and we kind of haven't been as big as some of the other parties anymore, but feel like especially represented by this situation where there's only 3 people here. And one of them is one of us, kind of showing that we're pretty active, which has been a problem recently. So that's about it.
Well, I certainly think MIP is one of the more active contributors, given that so many of us are in interesting roles here. Dometer, especially, is another one who's got his hands in pretty much everything in Democraciv.
Great to hear. I believe we're getting a response from Chemistry Bogadan and Chorizian texting right now, so we will wait for them to respond, and then we can go ahead with our first question. And I'll read this out for you. This is from Chemistry. Hello, I'm Chemistry Bogadan. I'm running for my 3rd term in the legislature. I hope to serve the peoples of Democraciv once again, especially since I was appointed chair of Loophole Closing Committee, which is a new committee here at Democraciv, which we have great hopes for. And while we wait for the next response, I'd just like to welcome all our long-time readers and new-time listeners here. We're very excited to do this once again. And it's been a long-time dream of mine, and I'm happy to say it's finally coming true. So big thanks to the DNN for helping us with this, being such a huge part. And in from Chorizian. Hello, I am Chorizian, longtime independent advocate for small government and owner of Shit Internet Right Now. So we also expect great things from him and everyone who has come here. It really shows a certain amount of commitment if you're willing to come and do a debate here with us. So I'm going to get us started on our first question. This is for everyone. including anyone who wants to speak for behalf of their party. In fact, we implore everyone here to not only give their own personal response, but what they believe their party's response would be as well. And that extends to all our non-legislative guests here as well. And that was, how do you feel about the new legislative structure with our 48-hour debate and vote periods? Do you think that's been a good thing for us moving forward, or has that, do you believe, had a little bit of a negative impact?
Well, I think it's going to be a good thing for us, especially since it allows us to kind of remove the problem of having other people vote for people, because as long as you're here sometime in the 48, you can just vote later. You don't have to make the session. Specifically, you can have someone else go to the session for you, but they're not voting for you. So I think it works better, but there definitely can be arguments. It can be argued either way.
Well, I like the idea of giving a time period before voting in which to read and discuss the legislation, because we've had problems in the past with legislation getting rushed through, people not reading or understanding it, and either abstaining or making a vote that probably wasn't well intended, or was well intended but wasn't well thought out, because they didn't have time to read the legislation or changes to it. So I really like the idea of giving a 24-hour period to discuss legislation before the vote. I don't think the vote should ever be rushed, but I can see concerns with delaying things for 48 hours.
And that's been a big problem, much discussed on the Discord here in Democraciv, about delays and what a lot of people consider to be low space in the game that we're strongly moving forward to eliminating now. Now I have a response from Chemistry Bogdan, and I will never get that right. I deeply and strongly apologize about that. That is CHEMICZNY /BOGDAN. So maybe that will give you a better idea of how it's pronounced. And he says, I like that it lets every legislator have a say, but I'm quite disappointed and there seems to be actually be less debate now, which is a very good point. Although I think we're going to get more from him in just a minute, and hopefully a response from Chernizian. However, I've just been given a proper way to pronounce it, so hopefully I'm going to fix that as we go forward.
Well, I'm wondering how much of that is actually related to the 24-hour debate period, and how much of it is just what's been going on in Democraciv as a whole.
That could be a thing. My experience as a former legislator, it did seem like under the shorter session type thing, about an hour long, there was a lot more debate, not very concise debate. There wasn't a lot of time to think about your issues. The original legislative reform, where we just had more time to vote, seemed to work. I'm still kind of gauging from the outside how the current one is working.
Okay, and I have a response here from Chernizian, which is, and I quote, I feel like while it brings some good aspects, such as longer time for everyone to discuss, as people do not always have time and at the same time. But at the same time, I feel like if you are inactive while most people are debating, you can fail to give your input, which is another excellent point, and definitely goes to show that the systems here aren't necessarily perfect, but we are working to try to get places. Now, I'm not sure if we're going to have more words from more members here, but in the meantime, I would like to go on to the next question real quick, unless anyone has any final input they'd like to put in. Okay, well, this one is for many legislators here, although if you would like to speak on behalf of your party on this issue, it's certainly encouraged, which is, what new bills are you excited for this coming sessions?
not as the party or legislature, but looking forward to EMAS's new MDRA amendments. Might be able to drop a court case, get some work off you.
And just for the record, we had another response or more added on to the previous question. So it is easy to miss some bills while, or sorry, this is from Cherizian, I should mention. Also, it's easy to miss some bills being proposed when you aren't there. And it happened to me being unaware of some of them because of that, which, I mean, can certainly have a huge effect on voter turnout and how many bills get passed through. And now I'm going to repeat the question I just asked before, just for some clarification. What bills are you excited for? And I'm taking responses from everyone here.
I'm not excited for anything in particular. I probably would be, but more because of I'm a little behind on reading the bills because I have been a little bit over the last couple of days. I've just been kind of stressed out with school and stuff. So I'm hoping that when I get to reading through everything, probably tonight, that there'll be some nice stuff there.
Okay, that's good to hear, and it's always good to have a legislator who's passionate and wants to get to stuff. So I'm really happy to hear that. And I have a response here from Cherizian, which is definitely Gimano's super acts. I think bringing some good change is what he has to say on the matter, which is actually something I'm very excited with.
It's gonna be a hell of a thing for us to proofread, though. Make sure I didn't sneak anything in.
Yes, we see that a lot in the U.S. system, don't we? With sneaky amendments. Okay, so we're getting a response coming in from. He's given me a way to pronounce this, so hopefully I get this right. Kahamichi Bogdan. Sorry. So we hope to have a response in a moment. If you'd like to discuss a little bit more while we wait for that, I'm certainly happy to have your guys' further opinions. And we have a response here from Kamichny Bogdan, which is, I'm very excited for Gimano's work. I hope the Executive Powers Bill will give us some more input on the executive branch. I think that could be beneficial to all of us. Oh, and I'm getting a thumbs up saying I did it right that time, although I'm still not so confident. And I'm getting another response here from Cherizian, which is also Adriel has had talk about Adriel has had talk about majoral powers bills, which I like the sound of, but I know that his bill can be like, which actually, speaking of Adriel Cillian, I have something he's been very passionate about in the past. And I have to say I have shared a deep passion for, which is religion. What is the legislative stance, or what is your stance on religion, and how much influence the legislature should have on it? And unlike Bob, do we still have you here?
Yeah, sorry, I was having headphone problems. Could you please read the question again?
Oh, no problem at all. So, what is your stance personally on religion and how much influence the legislator should have over religion?
I think the legislature shouldn't have a ton of control over religion. Technically, since it's an in-game decision, it would be under the jurisdiction of the military, but the legislature can, if they want, make laws to regulate it somehow to, I don't know, maybe, or make just like a general suggestion. I don't have any strong opinions either way on religion, but it's definitely important, and it should be a combination of both somehow, or at least the opinion of the legislature should be asked.
My opinion as a minister on that, obviously. I hate when you guys take our powers. But something like the Pantheon bill, where we give suggestions, you say it, but probably won't work for a full-scale religion. The most obvious thing is a referendum on the religion name. Just a given. It'd be an asshole move not to do it, to be completely honest.
Okay, and I'm getting a response here from both Cherizian and Kamichni Boyden, which once again, I'm so sorry, is CHEMICZNY underscore
Something like
BOGDAN.
or Hamichni. The way I think of it is you move the CH, you switch the CH and the C around, and then kind of don't really pronounce the first C very much, but that second C is a CH sound, and just try it from there.
Okay, well,
Someone
I hope
told
I'm
me
getting
how to
better at the
swear
very
in Polish,
least.
and I can't remember what it is. Can't remember how to say it.
But our response from Cherizian here is, like in real life, religion should be separate from the legislature, but it should focus on culture primarily, is what his personal opinion is. And here from, once again, Hemichny Boyjan, I think our citizens should be free to profess any religion they choose. I don't think the government should deny them their freedom, and I'm against using inquisitors. And then, as a fun remark, he stated, to me, I believe, you'll learn to speak Polish perfectly in time. Now, I want to give my opinion, which I know is a little bit bad taste when one thinks about presenters. But as a member and founder of NEO and current Hand of the King within that political party, I just want to say the nihilistic English order's opinion on these matters is that I would love to see a little bit more authority placed in the legislator's hands. I certainly think that religion should be something controlled by us as entirely as a group, and should have as many voices put into that as possible. So, and I think the legislator is the best place for that. So, just a little drop in from the nihilistic English order on that. And I guess if anyone has anything they want to say now, would be a good time before we move on to the next question. Okay then, well, our next question is actually on ministry infringement. I know speaking to a lot of ministers, not all, of course, and I know speaking to a lot of people in Democraciv, once again, not all, that they feel that the legislators digging into a lot of the ministry's power, which is certainly their right. But how do you feel about this?
I don't know about you, but I'm still over it, so that's my stance.
And once again, here we await our responses from Hamechi Bochin and Jerusalem. Okay, just a little update. Unlike Bob's, mic has just stopped working, unfortunately. So we'll hope to get it back at some point, but we will continue this text-based. It does mean you'll be hearing my voice a little bit more than usual, but I hope that isn't going to be too much of a problem. And we are just awaiting responses from everyone in the text chat. It can be a little bit hard to type out what you really want to in text. So I appreciate them taking their time to give us the best responses they can. So here we go. I'm very excited. And I will just ramble on up here while they get around to that until you're very much sick of my voice, which I hope will be, if nothing else, what everyone gets out of this at the end. I'll also take my time to remind everyone that this is in fact a globalist production along with corporations with the Democraciv News Network, which is your best place for news. In particular, as editor-in-chief of the Globalist, I have to give my full recommendation to our news network, who really stepped up to take over the press when we had a little bit of emptiness of content. So expect great things for us. Expect great pieces. We want to continue to give you the best news and information that we can, because in all cases, information is power, and the best place to get your information is the Globalist. I also want to advertise on hopefully a few upcoming pieces on the Democraciv News Network, which will be done by the Globalist. One in particular would be a Atlas's Rising own show, which we hope to eventually move to an audio format to discuss things like current turns being played, past turns being played, and just the general online gossip and news that's happening on a day-to-day basis here on the Discord server. And if you're just listening to this on YouTube and anywhere else that happens to be streamed or viewed, I implore you to come on and join us in the Discord. We're a very friendly community, and we love to have people come join us. We also
there's a link to the Discord on the top bar on the subreddit, so it's pretty easy to find.
Thank you very much on that. I did for a moment forget where that was. I would have stumbled around a little bit if not for that.
Yeah,
I
actually just moved it not too long ago because it was really buried on the left sidebar, and I really would like to make some changes to that sidebar. I'm just not the best at CSS.
Okay, and we do actually now have a response from Chemistry Boyden, which is, quote, "Sadly, there seems to be a mutual distrust between the legislature and the ministry, as in we make laws to stop them from running amok, and that require our permission for some actions that they don't trust us to just let them do their own thing, even if they want to redo it reasonably. I'm hoped with some exchange between the legislature and the ministry we have a more understanding, but it doesn't seem to be the case yet." And just for the record, I know it's been a little while and I've been talking a little bit. That was a response to the questions on legislative infringement on the ministry.
I'm just gonna go with Bogdan, so I don't have to say the weird thing. In response to your thing, you say you don't want us running amok, and you want us to get permission from you guys. But you gotta understand, that can be hard, complicated, and take pretty long sometimes. It's one of the problems I had with the MDRA. It was too limiting on us, where we had to go to you for a lot of things we might have wanted to do. Basic things like dropping nukes might be fine, but too much, slow down the game too much.
this is where it's great to have everyone kind of here so we can see these different opinions. Now, I do have a response from Derision here, which is, once again, as I quote, I believe some bills being proposed lately by the legislature have been too restricted towards the ministry. They should be provided broad rules, which allows them to debate more internally.
And let's not beat around the bush. We're all talking about the MDRA and for the Ministry Diplomatic Rights Act. And to be honest, it's my largest problem was that you didn't give us checks to your balances. You sound fine.
Okay, and I do have a response here from Unlike Bob, which is, in the legislature, the ministry should have no influence. The job of the legislature is to restrict the ministry, not the other way around. The Constitution granted the legislature certain powers, and unless they give up those powers, they need to go through the legislature.
I'm assuming that's in reference to the recent Bill Posting Act amendment proposed, where ministry gets to sponsor bills. Thing with that, the same reasoning why you should get 3 sponsors, because if you can't get 3 sponsors, you're not gonna get enough votes. If you can't get some ministry on your side, you can't get enough votes. And really, we do too much vetoing because of things that could have easily been fixed with simple amendments. And really, that's just what we need to get fixed.
Okay, well, I will give us a little bit of time to talk this out. I know this is something with a lot of opinions and as such. However, I would like to say that we do have to keep us moving here. So I will leave us only a few minutes to do that, but I expect great things in those minutes.
Okay, I think this is working again.
Oh, that's good to hear. We appear to have Unlike Bob back, so it won't just be it's infuriating voice, which I'm sure you're all sick of by now. So good to see Unlike Bob back, and with that, we'll just leave it for a couple more moments. We take in any last responses until we move on to the next question.
Just a quick note, Let Pig Nexus just joined. If you want to chime in on anything, feel free to. We have plenty of non-legislators chiming in on stuff because we don't have a lot of people here.
Bogdan, just for reference, there is more amendments to come. We're still working on it with the MDRA, and UMass. We don't want to have to get it court ordered or get the bill stricken down. There's a lot of work and debate has gone into it. But it's going to be our last resort. And since the court is slow enough, it should work out.
Okay, and I do have a couple of responses here. Which is a response from Jurizium, which is, I don't agree with that in reference to previous comments. I think that the way the legislature and the ministry need to work together, this would not encourage that. I do believe that is a response to Unlike Bob, but
Should be.
I unfortunately am rummaging through a couple of things. Oh, yes, we do have confirmation on that, so that's great. And then we have one from Amishi.
Yeah,
our
the
good
minister
friend
account
Amishi
towards
Boyden.
the 3 sponsors needed for the legislator. It doesn't make any sense if it's getting proposed in the legislator. They should need 3 legislators to sponsor it. Otherwise, it's not going to pass. So.
Well, it's also, again, we don't want to have to go through vetoes. I don't like vetoing bills. It's a lot easier to amend them beforehand. And it's the same way it works with ministry. I would agree with you if it was 3 ministers can sponsor it and it has to go. But if 1 or 2 legislatures also have to do it, it should be fine.
Okay, as I was saying we do have a response from Bojan, who's given me permission to use the latter half of his name. Thank God.
Just
I really do appreciate that.
feel free to join the voice channel, do whatever you want.
So I'm
Which is hopefully with the amendments to the MDRA proposed lately, it will make it easier for the ministry. We also need to wait for the Supreme Court's decision, since they're the ones to finally decide if it is okay. And I want to say in response to the Pig Nexus's question of whether or not they can join the voice channel,
yeah,
do feel free.
that's-
We really need more voices than just my
that's
own here.
what I was wanting to
Um,
address is
Okay.
wanted to make sure there wasn't something technical wrong there, or why I wasn't quite sure why he's asking, do you lot want me to stay out of the voice channel? And anyone's welcome to join the voice channel.
Alrighty, I just didn't want to interrupt anybody or anything like that.
Okay, and we just had a response from Behemoth backed up by Wheeze here, which is stating, speaking on behalf of the ministry, we just want to play the game in reference to the debate that just happened now, which we will be moving on in just a moment now,
I think that's
which I think is a great response. And if you want to catch more from Behemoth, he was in our previous ministry debates that should be going up around the same time as these are. So look out for those too. And with that, I'm going to give us. Well, actually, you know what? I'm actually going to wrap this up a little bit. We do need to be moving on. So here is a question from me, if you can't tell, which I do rather feel passionate about, if you can guess, and I hope that Express also is a little bit passionate. And that's your opinions on the Supreme Court. What have we done, or I say, what has the Supreme Court done wrong or an error lately? What do you disagree
Do
with?
you really want to ask me that question?
I do actually. I do want everyone's response on this because I think it's something that we definitely don't get enough feedback in the Supreme Court. I'd love to hear it from all of you, especially from people who we have recently had little toughs with lately.
You've been fine in my book. Not sure if we're working towards, in my case, but I don't even mind. We would rather work it out of court. But yeah.
Well, for myself personally, I have to say I've agreed with most of the things that the courts have done. But on the other hand, I think this ability that the court has given themselves to interpret the Constitution how they see fit is not a great thing.
Is that not their job? Okay.
And I would also have to say that I lost my thought.
That's perfectly fine. I know we're waiting responses from Cherizian and Bogdan, so we await those earnestly, as always. And if you guys here over in the voice chat want to talk among yourselves more about this issue, do feel free.
Right, I feel like the judicial branch is doing a pretty good job. I haven't read through every case you guys have gone through, but to me, most of the ones I have looked at, it seems to like a lot of them are legitimate problems, and you've done a pretty good job solving them.
Yeah, I have to agree there. I think that the judicial branch, myself excluded, I won't say anything about myself or the JDC, but the Supreme Courts, I think they've done a good job. I can't agree with them allowing themselves to interpret the Constitution itself however they want to.
Okay, I think that is
Fair enough.
there.
I'm trying to think of nice things to say about the court here, because well, the kind of running joke here is that every court case involved me for a period of time. I thought it was a really good group when I saw the nominees, and I've disagreed with a lot of how they come to decisions. I've disagreed with a lot of the decisions that they came up with, but I think it's a learning process for the court. Sometimes I get frustrated because I know what the Constitution says from my role in it, and I see very different opinions coming from the court on stuff. I can't think of specifics right now, but we kind of have a difficult relationship, which is why I'm on the JDC.
Just for record, I'm sure everyone knows this, but the GDC is the Judicial Disputes Court. It's the Judicial Disputes Court. Oh, I apologize about that. Which is the court in charge of keeping us in line. I apologize. I appear to have some voice connection issues on my side. I don't know if they're coming through. I hope they aren't too disruptive.
I'm hearing you just fine on this end.
Yeah, you seem fine.
Same here.
Okay. Well, that's good. At least it isn't too effective. We do have a response from Bogdan here once again, which is, as I quote, I think the Supreme Court is doing fine. There seems to be many different opinions in the Supreme Court, which is very good. After all, you seem to be all very well educated in markers of law and using it, which I think most of us can give great thanks to the Mere Law University, which is, at least in my case, done wonders for me, becoming a little bit more educated on the Constitution. And we have a response here from Trizia, which is, to be honest, I don't look at the court that often. I don't know about most cases that have happened, so I can't really give a solid opinion, which is certainly fair enough. We aren't exactly what I would describe as the most action-packed branch of the government, which I personally think is a good thing, but it certainly doesn't make our cases or our activities particularly exciting.
It's not very surprising. I expected it to be very drama-filled. At least you shouldn't expect it to be very drama-filled.
Okay, unless anyone has any final comments, I think we can begin to get rolling on the next question. Well, okay then. It's a very similar question, but in this case, in your opinions of the ministry.
Oh, great guys. Really wonderful people,
Well,
They need to be active.
activity, that's my concern. We
We need to
didn't have
look more active.
recaps available for a period of time recently. It's really hard to know what's going on in the game when the ministry is not communicating. So
Yeah, we are playing sessions. We have had progress, but I will agree with you all. We have been terrible at showing off that progress. We do need to get more albums out there. It's really just as simple as that.
Yeah, no argument here.
They just need to stay
We are
active
still
and
waiting.
get this stuff up, telling people what happened in sessions.
No one's
I'm
been
gonna just keep
dead
the game
so
running
far.
and run the game well.
Yeah, no one's been dead in the ministry so far, so we're doing fine.
I think when it comes to actually having played the game and when the ministry is actually playing it, things go fairly well. But outside of that, we have had problems with activity and things like publicizing the game sessions and things like that. I think that is improving, but it is definitely an area that needs to continue to improve.
And we've just had a response from Misenko EX, who is currently the Speaker of the House, unless I'm mistaken,
yes,
and obviously carries quite a bit of weight. So what he has to say on this issue is slowing down the ministry is bad, but as I've said in the past, one shouldn't sacrifice the general public's needs for the sake of expediency. Stuff like diplomacy bill, for example, was born out of IMT's genuine concern over not pissing off the AI unnecessarily. These are important aspects of the game, and we shouldn't ignore those concerns.
Well, it is the initial intention, and I do agree with that. The bill would sure as hell make us not be able to piss off the AI. It just limited our power too much. We needed some very simple checks. You'll be seeing those coming into the legislature very soon, if not court-ordered somehow. I don't know how to manage that. Then through EMAS right now. So, waiting on that.
Okay, and we have had just responses from well, it appears to be everyone, so that's good to hear. But from Cherizian, we have recently, I feel like they have done a better job of showing up the progress than previously. I have never been able to make a session due to the time zones and or the internet, and the only thing that they should is maybe improve feedback on vetoed bills. From Masenko EX. Oh, this appears just to be what he said over in studio. So you just heard that, but it's good to see him joining us. From Bogdan, we have the ministry should be abolished. JK. The current ministry has been very good. They're very active. They react to passing bills almost instantly. Although I'm not entirely sure if they read it. I needed a little bit of a tongue sticky out face. The only problem right now is to publish these videos and recaps, which is obviously very important.
I can't speak on behalf of the entire ministry, but I personally read through every amendment and bill, and I'm pretty sure most of them at least skim it. Probably in reference to the recent, I think it was some amendment that made legislature sessions a lot either slower or faster. And
Slower. It was the BPA amendment.
yeah, I posted the argument against it in the chat just for sake of discussion, and apparently they all just instantly agreed. But I'm not sure their entire thought process on that. Also,
Okay, we appear to be getting.
I'm sorry.
We do appear to be getting word in from Bogdan once again. So I'll look forward to that. And it's actually just arrived here while I'm speaking. So let me read that out, which states, I guess actually ministers read the bills about as thoroughly as the legislators, which I assume was meant for a bit of humor. And I guess I will await anyone else's response here before we move on to our next question. Well, okay then. This question was actually originally proposed by Espresso, and I don't know if he wishes to read it out himself or I can. It's all up to him.
You can go ahead and read it because I can't remember my own wording, and I'm not leaving this channel while the video's going.
Okay, that sounds good. And it reads, legislators, what do you think about the lack of communication regarding past legislation recently? And what plans, if any, would you have to address this in the future? This is for legislators here, but I'm going to take some liberties from Espresso and say that if anyone else would like to answer, that's perfectly acceptable.
I'm really sorry. Could you please read it again? I'm lagging a bit for some reason.
Sorry, did you say you want me to reread it?
Yeah, could you please?
Difficulties. And it is, legislators, what do you think about the lack of communication regarding past legislation recently? And what plans, if any, would you have to address this in the future? And I'll post this real quick in the chat so everyone can see.
Okay. I don't have a specific plan to deal with it, but I definitely think there should definitely be some sort of either Reddit page or page on the wiki or something that lists just links to all the legislation that's been enacted. It shouldn't be that hard to do, and it would solve this problem mostly.
It's always good to see an innovative response, especially something that actually tries to try to solve the problem. We're obviously getting word here from Senko, EX, Bogdan, and Cherizian. So I look forward to listening to that.
May I chime in here as I'm not
Oh.
an actual legislator?
Oh no, please do. We obviously need someone to fill up the silence that comes from me being a rather bad speaker. So if you want to jump in here, anyone who's not in the legislator, I'd be happy to hear your responses.
All right, well, certainly. I think it should be noted that there was a recent court case brought up about this very, very problem. It went to actually the court of the JDC, the Judicial Disputes Court, and they ruled that there had indeed been a problem with the legislature communicating bills that have been passed to the public and the courts and whatnot. And they mandated that because it is the constitutional responsibility of the speaker to ensure that this stuff is done, he or she needs to get that done. And so while we have had a problem in the past, I believe that since that court case has come down, things will be improving there.
Well, while that court case is being resolved, the speaker actually resigned, and we have a new speaker who's Masenko, who's here with us. Which it wasn't part of the case, so to speak, but uh, there has been a change already in leadership, which hopefully will impact things in a good way.
Not necessarily on the topic of informing the general public, but they've done a phenomenal job getting us the ministry lists to vote on as soon as possible. Really helps speed things along for us, especially Masenko.
Okay, and I do have some responses down in the chat here I'd like to read out. Firstly, from Weeze. Usually trying to get reasoning for regular bills getting vetoed into Discord chats, but if it becomes a problem, I might start posting my reasoning on the Reddit, which I believe was a response from earlier. We also have Bogdan with, I think a lot has already been done for the sake of making communication between the legislation and regular votes by our current speaker. A list of attacking legislation is available on the subhead right now. I hope that we'll be able to make it more readable, especially with Shimano's idea of unifying many connected bits, which once again we did talk about a little bit earlier. Rizian is looking for the question the town has debate at the current moment, but Masenko EX responds, I feel like those issues have been cleared up. There was confusion before regarding the MDRA's bill's supermajority. Now that I'm speaker, I intend to make every bill available to all citizens on the legislative week. So that's good to hear. And this is once again the Speaker of the House. We have Terizian's post here, which is perhaps we could have some place like a Google Doc or a wiki page. I'm not sure about either of those, where it is up to the legislators to post what they did during the session. And it could also make a place where all the bills and arguments could be held kept. Now the Speaker wouldn't lose his responsibility here. He would have to moderate this page since legislators would be allowed to post freely. Copy this from what I said on Reddit. I haven't given it more thought since I wrote it then. So we do have Masenko typing something up as I speak, so I'm going to leave on this question for a little bit. This is the last question I have from me tonight. But later, once Masenko posts what he would like to say, I'm willing to open up if anyone here has any questions. And after that, we can go to closing statements and finish this up. And I think I'm having a little bit of connection issues because I know for a fact my voice isn't coming across quite as clearly as I think it was before. But I just want to sit for the silence a little bit.
Yeah, you're a bit choppy now.
In response to Masenko X, I think a secretary position would probably be useful, but it shouldn't be elected. It should be you volunteer for it.
It's an appointed position by the speaker, but
yeah, that would work as well.
Yeah, you're not forced to do it. You can decline.
And just for the record, Masenko EX here has posted also posted a new bill on the legislative subreddit, which creates the role of secretary. The secretary is responsible for documentation, including the aforementioned posting of past legislation, which Cherzian has responded with, stating that it looks rather good.
Yes, I agree.
So I guess with that question out of the way mostly, unless we have any final responses, we can go to anyone here has any final questions for each other, particularly if you are not running for the legislature. I'd love to hear any questions you have in that regard. Otherwise, we will go to final statements. Well, all right, that's when we have Wheeze. I'm not sure if he's typing something up now. It can be a little bit finicky.
Oh, no, sorry.
But if the legislators would like to have any finishing statements, I'd love to hear from them and what they have to say. That night, after they go, I'll ask if anyone representing a party has anything to say in that regard, and then I can close out.
Well, I can make a statement. This applies for me and for my party for the most part. We're just trying to make the game more fun, and we're trying to keep it active and keep the game moving. And then, we're also trying to play wide and do military because we think that's a more fun way to play the game.
Well, my party will definitely disagree with me. I like the military strategy, especially against IAM.
And we are getting responses here from inside the chat here, so I'll be reading those out in just a moment. And I don't know if I said this before, but I just want to state how much of an honor it is for me to be able to host these debates. I love to see this kind of activity, and it's nice to get this kind of communication from the government. It's something I feel that is a great service to everyone, and I'm happy to be a part of it. This is our response from Senko EX, which states, "Thank you for this opportunity. I apologize for coming late to the debate," which I personally have to respond with. It is no trouble at all. We're just glad you're here. But he continues with, "I want to mention that I'm no longer a Space Communist member, and this will be running as an independent. Please look for my name. I also endorse Bogdan and Gino for my alternatives." So those are a great group of legislators, and I'm glad to see that we're having some communication and working together as independents. Then I have this from Cherisian, which states, "Yeah, thank you very much. I wish I was able to talk, but otherwise vote for me or die." And that's all, which glad to see there's a little bit of humor going on. It's something I feel like we certainly need. I'm not exactly the funniest host. I'm not sure if we were getting a response from, oh no, we appear to are getting a response from Hamachi Boyden. So we await that eagerly, and then we will finish up. As it's been stated, I should probably find commercials to throw in this time in the middle. It might be a good idea. Maybe we can make a little bit of cash on the side.
Telling you, man, that money system's gonna change the world.
Political ads, vote NDP.
Yeah, imagine the spam I could do with that.
Political ad, vote Zach Bear for ministry.
So you're saying I should monetize
I got my
these
quota.
videos?
Oh yeah, good idea.
Exactly.
Our
as long as you
opponents
do
are
the income.
stupid and don't know how to run the country. You should vote for us because we have more money.
Okay, well, I guess I'm going to get a response from Bogdan now. I think he has a little bit more to say, then I'll read what he has out now. "I think the loophole closing committee is a great chance to make the quality of legislation even higher, while at the same time giving everyone an opportunity to serve England. I hope for new voters coming. I want to thank everyone for this amazing event. Vote for Bogdan." Which is great to hear. Well, I guess before I wrap up, does the DNN have anything they'd like to say before we head off?
I think this has gone very well. This and the other debate we had earlier, it's gone very well. So I'm glad everyone was able to join in here, and I think we've had some really good discussions and a lot of activity from this. And Hamichne is insisting that I will be raking in money from the YouTube ads, but I'm not. DNN isn't monetized because it's not really all my content except for the espresso report, so it wouldn't feel right.
Okay, and I think that's it for tonight. I've been a big glass house here, editor-in-chief at the Globalist, who have been happy to team up with DNA to do this both audio and text legislative debate. We're so glad everyone has been able to join us, especially our brand new audio listeners and our dear readers who we adore very, very much. Look out on the subreddit for more globalist content, which we like to put out regularly, as well as continuing to subscribe on YouTube for DNN, who are a great service, and we hope to do more projects with in the future. As always, check out the newspaper that reports without limits, and stay global, everyone.